Guys, I have to say that we have a lot of love from Greece, to be honest with you. During my last trip to Athens for the game in this historic Olympic stadium, I was actually surprised by how many Panathinaikos fans approached me and shared pure love for the podcast, for the job we do on the BasketNews, on all these platforms. So it was a really overwhelming trip, I would say, to experience this unique basketball scene, to watch those great EuroLeague teams playing each other, and also, to be in an environment which is so dedicated to basketball and knows everything outside Greece as well. So it was.
That's nice to hear. That's nice to hear. How was the event overall? I know there is a vlog on our page, but maybe not all the people watched it. Do you want to share some experiences, or people should just go and watch that vlog video?
What should I tell to tease people? I would say that we had very high expectations. Because the game is played in front of over 35,000 fans. Apparently, it turned out that there were more than 40,000, 42,000 fans watching the game. And watching these scenes from Waka during the playoffs, we had a little bit different expectations from what we saw actually on Saturday. But in overall, I would say it was probably once in a lifetime experience, because I'm not sure if I will ever witness a basketball game in this unique environment, which means so much to sports. First modern Olympic Games were opened in that stadium in 1896. That was actually my first trip outside Lithuania by my own, when I went to Athens maybe 10 years ago, 13 years ago. And I remember that I took an actual picture on this podium in the stadium. Me with the backpack, just working for other Lithuanian website and just visiting Panathinaikos and Real Madrid game during my vacation, basically. So to me, it also meant a lot. But yeah, a lot of interesting scenes that you will see on BasketNews YouTube channel. Me and Rytis, we had the trip and we made a vlog, so everything will be explained in that video.
I think we should do more of these open air tournaments.
Yeah,
I think the players love it. I think the fans love it. In general, every basketball player, or just any person that loves basketball, grow up playing in the street or on some kind of park that's outside. And to have this game that you can visit, 20, 30,000 people last year. There was one in Belgrade. They had a little bit less people, I think.
7,000, I think.
But it was just another iconic place that looked like near the castle or outside of castle. So I think it's a great experience for the players, and to see a game in open air, I think that's cool. And I was searching today for a video of my own, just to see if any actual NBA games were held outside or some other NCAA games. And probably the coolest place that I found where one game was placed was an aircraft carrier, the NCAA
Navy, right?
Yeah, on the U.S. Navy aircraft carrier. And it was, I looked up on YouTube the highlights. Super cool. Some games were in some tennis stadiums and baseball stadiums. They do
play in stadiums in NCAA. They actually play the Final Four. So these are official, big, important nights for the.
But they have the roof.
They have the roof.
That's the difference.
Because if you just want to organize a game purely outside, you're so dependent on the weather, and a little bit of rain will force you to postpone your plans to push the game to another date. This is why it's not perfect for basketball, because like other outdoor sports, football, rugby can be played with rain, with whatever weather or temperature is outside. And actually, this event kind of reminds me of NHL. They do winter classics. They play some regular season games outside in the winter, which looks really awesome.
And for them, weather is not a problem.
Yeah,
right?
They're just skating on ice, and it's happening outside, and that really looks awesome. As for basketball, I agree with you and agree with the sentiment that everybody grew up playing on the streets. Everybody grew up playing outside, and some of us still do. Professional players probably not so much, but this kind of makes you feel like a little bit of your childhood memories, maybe when you were playing with your friends. Now you're playing with EuroLeague hoopers, you know,
going back to your roots.
So it's nice as let's say a preseason tradition. It could become a tradition, but I could hardly imagine it being like an official game, a regular season game, because of the reasons I said, and because, you know, not all countries have the climate to do that, and then, you know, even if it's not raining, if you have like really strong wind, players might be complaining like, look, man, I fucked up my stats because we played outside and it was wind, and I was like 0 from 8.
That was an actual problem, even in Athens, which we consider a sweet spot, you know, in terms of weather. It was chilly at night, especially when the sun went down. It was chilly, it was windy, so, you know, maybe that's how you can explain low percentages, low scoring games, both for FS Maccabi and Panathinaikos and Partizan. So yeah, it was chilly, and I'm like, okay, so if you want to organize this game, especially an official game, it's impossible to do it in October. And probably you can start thinking about having outside games from May, the end of May or June.
That's the Final Four.
And that's the Final Four. You probably cannot take risks organizing Final Four in open air places. And I remember I asked Panathinaikos people, so, okay, guys, so I see on my app it shows that there shouldn't be any rain today, but what was the plan, you know, if it was actually raining? And the answer was, the guy on the other end just smiled and said, well, you know, God loves Panathinaikos. That's it. There was basically no plan B probably. So, okay, that's not going to work well with Paulius Motiejūnas if he wants to arrange an official game. Although, yeah, that would be a dream, but you have to have some, you know, certain insurance situations, what to do. I don't know, maybe we have some football stadiums with, you know, closed roof or whatever. Not sure if that's the thing in Greece. I saw Dimitris Giannakopoulos saying that I think if we bring NBA champions to play in Athens, we can make the game in Oaka Stadium. And I remember I watched this number on social media. It said 80,000. Is that true? Oaka Stadium seats 80,000 people. It sounds like Wembley capacity, right? I didn't expect that Oaka can seat so many fans. Anyway, maybe it was a mistake.
During Taylor Swift concert, not a sports event.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, that's a good idea for friendly games, exhibition games, and for sure in our dream scenarios, having an official games in these environments would be perfect. We actually had an example in Paris Olympics in Lille. But this whole stadium was built for making events like that. So probably we have only few stadiums in the entire Europe that can accommodate basketball game. Anyways, enough with some sweet talk and nice stories. Let's start with something which will define our season as insiders, as analysts,
or just as
experts of basketball.
As some dudes talking about basketball.
No. It's just in our eyes. It's just in this room. That's how we see each other.
I refuse to be labeled an analyst or an insider.
I mean, it's not in your hands, you know. It's not in your control.
After your picks in the playoffs, some fans probably will just, you know, write down the list that you have, and after the regular season, we'll have.
This is what I hate. I mean, they keep on bringing this up like it's not. Like it's the predictions. It's not the predictions we're doing. We're doing the power rankings, and you're the analyst. You do an analytical job. You're the insider. You do the journalistic part of things.
Yeah,
I'm a nobody.
Can you explain the meaning of power rankings to everybody?
Because pressure off himself.
The power rankings is like if you do them before the season, like, and you probably should update them like monthly or even weekly. But let's say we only do this as a preseason review.
Yeah.
So we take a look at the rosters and we try to, let's say, rank them in terms of how we like the roster, the way it's built, in terms of the quality, depth, and all the other criteria we chose. But it's not necessarily a prediction. Like I might say this team in my power rankings is number 4, but if we do predictions, I might think they'll probably finish 6th or 7th because they don't have such strong home court advantage or whatever. So that is the difference in my opinion. And usually power rankings have to be updated. Like you could put some team at number 9, but after the first month you update your power rankings and the team is number 3 or number 2 because of the way they're performing. Like if we can pick as an example Virtus Bologna. So you rank them as 12th or 13th before the season. So then after the first month of the regular season, you could update your power rankings and say, look, they're number 4 or number 5. And after the first part of the regular season, you still have them high on the list. But then in the end of the season, you do the, let's say, power rankings of the last month and you put them in 16th because the way they dropped in the standings and the way they stopped playing. So that's the power rankings, and that's the difference between power rankings and predictions. Keep that in mind when you remind us in the middle of February that, we rated this team only in number 10.
Yeah.
Oh, Unicaja, an average team in Europe. Let's not get into that.
That's a different topic, my friend. Yeah. That's the thing. We're going to evaluate how we see teams standing before the season or for the season, speaking of their roster, evaluating the potential, upside, injury factor, and a lot of different things. But yeah, it doesn't mean that it's going to be a prediction podcast. But let's begin. We're going to go from the best ranked team to the bottom ranked team. So we're going to start with the first pick, the first place. And who do you rank first before the season starts next week? Who in your eyes looks as the strongest team at the moment for the season?
Unanimous decision?
Not sure. With Rytis in the room.
Last season it was so easy to pick Real Madrid. This season is just too easy to pick Panathinaikos. I mean,
I had some concerns that you might be.
What concerns do you have?
Tricky.
Stupid people on Twitter do not affect my judgment. So I'm unbiased.
No. I mean, I thought that you might bring this wild card, X factor, some different take, and put them.
I couldn't.
I'm not saying rank them 8th, but second.
Look, I couldn't
because
even
in
if I wanted
Musa's
to.
world, Real Madrid is a better team than Panathinaikos.
So maybe during the last season they were, during the whole season, like they won the regular season and all that, they were more consistent. But right now, doing these power rankings, you have to first of all look at the facts that Panathinaikos are the current champions, and the roster is stronger, not weaker. And Real Madrid, you could say the roster is weaker because they didn't really replace Gershon Yabusele, who was a late departure after the Olympics. Maybe they will sign a player. I'm not sure. I've heard Chus Mateo saying after the loss in Supercopa that he needs more players. Andres Feliz replacing Sergio Rodriguez, well, you can say it's like the same level, especially if you're talking about EuroLeague experience. So Real Madrid got weaker, Panathinaikos are the champions, and they even got stronger because they added depth. They improved in the backup center position. They added a great versatile player, Cedi Osman, who still has legit NBA value, and he is still in his prime years, and he might be a huge game changer. Can play in multiple positions, can defend, a great shooter, great cutter. And they signed Lorenzo Brown as their third ball handling option. I mean, come on. Next to Kendrick Nunn and Kostas Lukas, now you have Lorenzo Brown.
As a backup option.
As a third option, as I said. Yeah. Well, maybe in some lineups they might play all together, who knows. But look, it's a no-brainer. Number 1 in the power rankings. I don't see any arguments for any other team. I tried to look at it from different angles, like Olympiacos, Real Madrid. I couldn't come up with a single argument, except of that Real Madrid usually cruise through the regular season. But I'm not sure if that's going to be the case this year.
Janan Musa said, quote unquote, "We lost the game. We had a 16-point lead and we lost it. We are a better team than Panathinaikos today, and we will prove this year." I would agree with Janan if, as you mentioned, if they didn't lose Gershon Yabusele, which I think is crucial. He was amazing glue guy, I would call him. And I consider Vincent Poirier's loss also a big factor. Okay, they replaced him with Garuba, with Ibaka, but I think that these two losses and the loss of those veteran players will affect their depth.
Yeah, Chacho retired, Rudy retired.
And especially when Panathinaikos upgraded their roster, I just don't see them potentially being ranked above Panathinaikos. So that's how my first two seeds look like, Panathinaikos and Real Madrid.
Oh
no, I don't have
like,
Real Madrid.
Why are you talking about Real Madrid? Why are you comparing?
No, Real Madrid is number 3 in my
okay.
power rankings.
In mine too.
You have Olympiacos number 2?
Yeah, I have Olympiacos number 2, and with Panathinaikos, I just really don't have anything to add except that their second unit could easily be a great starting lineup in the EuroLeague. I mean, their second unit, looks like Lorenzo Brown, Slukas, Grigonis or Papapetru, Juancho, and Omer Yurtseven. Come on now. That could easily be a another playoff level starting lineup. So they are covered in multiple positions by multiple players, and I think Giannakopoulos together with Ergin Ataman just did what they were supposed to do. If you want to keep your team in the top, you have to get ahead of things. And last year, I thought, in the playoffs, they were a little bit lucky. They played great in the Final Four, but in the playoffs, they were this close from losing to Maccabi Tel Aviv, who were without Wade Baldwin. And I think they saw that as a potential threat that they need to upgrade their team. And they did just that, adding 3 great players. So Panathinaikos is my number 1 as well.
The only way I could see Olympiacos being ahead, like in number 1 spot in these power rankings, is if Keenan Evans was healthy. Like if Keenan Evans didn't have that injury and he starts this season in shape, he's healthy, he basically has proven in Zalgiris that he's a EuroLeague superstar. So healthy, top shape Keenan Evans in this Olympiacos roster with Vezenkov back, with the additions of Fournier, Vildosa and all the other guys, I could have a case. But right now we're talking about Keenan Evans, who's still probably 5 or 6 months away from playing basketball.
If not more.
So I can't really put Olympiacos on top, but I do put them on top of Real Madrid.
Me too.
Just to add about Panathinaikos, I think that the only maybe 2 things that might hurt their season or the way they stand for the EuroLeague season is injuries. Kendrick Nunn has a history with some injuries, and it still remains a concern looking long term. Slukas is not getting younger, although he's usually fit. He looks after himself, but you never know if one of those injuries will hit one of the major players. And also the second thing is how some of the role players who earned their roles last season will accept the roster upgrades. Guys like Grigonis, who was 16 minutes or even made top 5 and who was important during the regular season. Now he sees Panathinaikos signing Jedi Osman. How it's going to affect his minutes. One thing it is to keep Kyle Gaia and Balcharovsky on the bench. Now, I'm not sure how Yurtseven potentially accepts playing 10, 12 minutes per game if that's the case, because Lazort, he doesn't want, have a smaller workload. No, he's fine playing 30 minutes and he wants that. So there are some certain things, and concerns how it might affect the chemistry on or off the floor. But I think that, they have a solid core. The core is going to remain the same. They're going to play big minutes, and there's nothing new in Ergin Ataman's world. That's what happens. Usually just entering the season, he picks 9, maybe 10 players, and that's it. And there's nothing you can do about it. And you have to accept your small minutes. If you're not happy, you're switching teams like some guys did or wanted to do last season. So they should be fine. And yeah, they're my number 1 pick. So why you pick Olympiacos over Real Madrid?
Like some of the things you've mentioned, Olympiacos is the perfect example how to run a 12-man roster or even a 14-man roster. They have so many options at every position. They're stacked in certain positions. Like if you look at their centers, Moses Wright, Mustafa Fall, Nikola Milutinov, all 3 together, and then you have Filip Petrushev as well. And then you have Vezenkov and Peters taking most of the minutes, playing in the 4th position. It's insane, the quality that they have, the depth that they have. But Barcelona has been running things in this way for many years, and it's been good for them. They've been successful with this system, with this model, where you have 12 players sharing minutes. Vezenkov was their star. He was their MVP, but we've seen that when he left, they didn't die. They stayed the same. The system was the same. So now he's back, and he's not some, let's say, NBA veteran past his prime. He's still in his prime. It just didn't work out for him in Sacramento. So now he's back in the EuroLeague. Like Evan Fournier, I'm not too excited about this signing. It's a big name. It's a great player, but I'm never too excited about NBA veterans past their prime joining the EuroLeague. However, he's not coming in here to score 20 points a game.
Exactly.
He's going to be part of the rotation. He's going to have his opportunities, have his shots, but he's playing next to Williams, Goss, Thomas Walkup, Vildosa, Dorsey, McKissick. This roster is insane. The depth is actually insane. This roster is built to basically play 2 tournaments at the same time. You play one lineup on Thursday and a completely different lineup on Sunday. So,
or you play one lineup in one quarter and the other in the second.
We were talking about Real Madrid, like the deepest team in Europe for a long time. I think now Olympiacos is the deepest team in Europe. And it's not just depth, it's also quality and experience. And the coach, you don't have any doubts about Barzokas. So number 2 for me, quite an easy pick, honestly, Olympiacos this year.
To me too. I just don't see Real Madrid at this point stronger than both of the Greek teams. What they lost, looking at the losses, is, Isaiah Kanan, Brazdeikis, who barely played, Luke Sigma, who barely played, Mikalis Lountzis, and you got back Vezenkov, you got Evan Fournier, you got back Tyler Dorsey, and you got Vildosa. And I mentioned the second unit of Panathinaikos, but I'm looking at the third unit of Olympiacos, and there I see names. Okay, let's take Evans as, injured guy who probably won't play a lot this season. I don't expect him to have any impact whatsoever, even at the end of the season. But you still have third unit of Olympiacos, Nazmi Turlong, Vildosa, Lorenzakis, Petrushev, and Moses Wright. And I know they have injuries at the center spot, which actually kept Petrushev, as I understand, in the team. But this is the third unit we're talking about. The majority, the half of EuroLeague teams would have problems with this third unit. So incredibly deep team once again, and just we know these players fit together. And Evan Fournier, as much as I'm not also super high on that, but he will have to do easier things in the system, and we know that system works. So I just see them, even in the regular season, maybe even, taking the regular season, because, I don't know, just because of their system. But Real Madrid, to me, at the moment, they have a lot of things to figure out. You mentioned the losses of Yabusele, Poirier. Ibaka is good, but I don't know if he can replace Poirier at that same level. And to lose the veterans in the locker room, sometimes it's not only what we see on the court, but even more important, what they lose in the locker room.
My argument why I picked Real Madrid at second position is that I consider their starting 5 slightly better than Olympiacos. And although Olympiacos had upgrades in crucial positions like scoring position or Vezenkov, I think that we can predict that Canan Musa, Mario Hezonja still just approaching their peak. They're still very young players, and you can expect a better quality, better decision making from that experience that they gained in the previous years. Eddie Tavares, he's still good. Facundo Campasso, he's still good. And I think that Real Madrid needed some refreshment off the bench, because I felt that last year, especially in the Final Four, in those situations, especially against Panathinaikos, those bench players, mainly veterans, they couldn't catch up with the rhythm that the starters offered. And those new guys that Real Madrid brought, especially at the backcourt, they have intriguing potential. They're skilled players. And this combination between proven champions, veterans. You can call Tavares, Campazzo veterans, and their presence in the locker room, I think, also will be important. Of course, Sergio Llull is on top of the hierarchy, but Tavares, Campazzo, they already carry a huge bag of an experience, and combining all these, young, fresh names, those rising superstars in Musa Hezonja, those cornerstone players like Tavares and Facu, and given their continuity, the beauty of their game that they usually displayed in regular season, I thought that these, of course, in my eyes, they got a little bit weaker, mainly because of Yabusele's loss, but I still look at them really highly. Olympiacos, I mean, they're basically, to me, and they're as good as Real Madrid. They're really good. And those things you mentioned about, for instance, Sasha Vezenkov, from what I heard, he came in a really great shape. It feels like he never left. That's the display he shows both on the court and in practices. Fournier, although he didn't have the most successful preseason, I just have stats from 2 games. He averaged like 6 points on 33% field goal shooting. He didn't feel in his rhythm, but he's accepting his role. He is asking a lot of questions. He wants to adjust. He doesn't want to make himself above the system. And from what I hear, he's in a good learning process. And I would say that actually in this scoring department, the most important guy for this season might be Tyler Dorsey, who didn't come to Olympiacos to be a rotation player. That's the reason why he left Fenerbahce. He wanted an important role, and from what I heard, he's in a top shape. He's super motivated, and so far he's been looking really, really good. So these are very serious upgrades that Olympiacos team did, and it makes them stronger for the next season.
And they addressed their main issue, creating off the dribble that we saw last year. We know their system is good, but sometimes not every time your system works, and you need someone who create off the dribble. Now you have Dorsey, now you have Fournier to do just that, and you get back Vezenkov, who can create off the ball for you and just score 20 points without any dribble. So I just see that together with their defense as the second seed. And with Madrid, I see less talent, although I'm really keen to see what Janan Musa and Mario Hezonja cooks up this season, but less talent than last year, and Madrid lives basically off of the talent they have. They never have more possessions than their opponents because they turn the ball over and they don't get offensive rebounds. I mean, they allow the opponents to get way more offensive rebounds usually. So if you have less shots, like 5 or 10 less possessions in each game, you basically have to live off your talent, and that talent level dropped. And that is why I basically see them in the third place. Should we go to fourth?
Though? I think it's going to be unanimous. It's Fenerbahce.
No, I have Fenerbahce at 4th.
I have Fener at 5.
Okay, who's your number 4 pick?
Barcelona.
Okay.
That's also fair, but Fener, I have more certainty with them rather than with Barcelona. Barcelona, with a new coach and new signings, they look interesting.
Promising.
They look promising, sexy, I could say. But Fenerbahce, after last season, when Rytis took over, what he did, now he improved the roster. I believe they should be in the Final Four again, but it's going to be a long way. It's going to be hard. However, in the power rankings, I do see them as the 4th team, and as an established 4th team, I would say. It's going to be very interesting to see Rytis working with Wade Baldwin. We might see more or less the same sparks we saw with Baldwin and Trinchieri in Munich. But as a leader, as a proven EuroLeague guard, Wade Baldwin is your star player. You just have to trust him. And he's going to be surrounded with great shooters, great creators, experienced players. Nicolo Melli back in Istanbul. I think it's a great signing. Boban Marjanovic is a very specific signing. He will definitely add to the atmosphere inside the locker room and on the bench. And also, he could play some solid minutes with certain matchups. I think that's the plan with Boban. We don't expect him to dominate or anything like that, but against certain teams and centers and maybe teams that don't have great guards that shoot from the perimeter, you could use Boban for some stretches. Other than that, I mean, Bonzi Colson next to Nigel Hayes-Davis. What's not to like about that?
Seems unfair, to be honest. These two at the same time on the court together.
Exactly. So, to me, it's quite an easy pick as a fourth team in the power rankings. And I would say this roster, there were seasons in EuroLeague a couple of years ago where I could rank them number 2 or number 3, but just the way these Greek teams are looking right now is too much, and that's why I put Fener at number 4. And Šaras is also a big part of my decision. I think he's gonna have even more impact now that he had the preseason and he had the opportunity to, let's say, adjust the roster a little bit according to his philosophy.
When you mentioned those interactions between Šaras and Wade Baldwin, and then you mentioned guys like Boban Marjanovic and Nigel Hayes-Davis, it feels like they should do some, I don't know, TV series in Istanbul, and that would be quite a delightful TV series probably. But I like their roster a lot. They got 2 top dogs in their positions. I mean, Wade Baldwin and Bonzi Colson, and it feels like following the way they tried to find center, it feels like that they didn't have a clear target at center position, and Šaras was desperate for rim protection from eventually, as we've seen, for Giants. So they decided to make it, I would say, quite in a quite unique way. Both Boban and Cam Birch were signed with an in-season option to terminate the contract. So they're taking 2 guys to fill clear roles, small roles. Neither Boban, neither Cam Birch, they're not going to play big minutes because they also have Sertac Shanli, Nicola Meli at this position. So basically they can rotate 4 guys depending on a situation. And if Boban Marjanovic fails, if he cannot play, even 5 or 10 minutes against the certain matchups like Eddie Tavares, Mustafa Fall, and other Giants, if there's something wrong with Cam Birch, they're still flexible on the market to look for some upgrades during the season in case there will be some dropouts from the NBA. And the rest of the roster, I mean, it's amazing. It's unbelievable. So that was I would say, interesting the way they'll build this roster. But I really like the potential with some of the role players like Devon Hall as well. So it should be a great season for Fenerbahce.
You kind of convinced me to put them higher than I actually did, but the one thing that stopped me is the center position that you just talked about. Because when the news broke out that Fener signed Baldwin and Colson, and I don't know if Nico Meli was already on the team, but when I saw Wade and Bonzi going there already with Guduric, Wilbekin, all the Nigel Hayes-Davis there.
Devon Hall
as well for Šaras. I was like, this might be the year where Šaras actually has the best chance of his career to win EuroLeague. Because I thought, okay, you're going to sign a center. It was still in the middle of July, I think. But they, waited so much, and these 2 names that they signed in the last couple of weeks just doesn't convince me. I guess, the fact that they have the option to terminate the contract speaks also for itself. So
where you have them?
I have them at 5.
Okay.
But with a really, really solid center that could rim roll at the high percentage, protect the rim, be a pick and roll great partner, like kind of what Josh Nebo was for Wade Baldwin and Lorenzo Brown. I would rank them even 3rd above Real Madrid. But just at this moment, the way this roster stands, and I understand that there might be a lot of changes during the season, I have them at 5th.
Hey, but thank God that they're not perfect. It's way more interesting to see them having some situations to solve.
I want Šaras, to succeed in the EuroLeague, to see him finally succeed. So I hope these signings work well for them. But at the moment, I see them number 5, and I have Barca at 4th because I thought they addressed their main, issue, which was creating off the dribble as well. They played fast last season. They should play even faster now with Peñarroya as their head coach. They have physicality in every spot. They added Chimezi Medo, which is an interesting addition, I think. from the NBA, and they added Kevin Punter. We saw their struggles against Olympiacos in the playoffs last season. And, you know, KP solves a lot of those issues. Him together with Satoransky, I think, is an interesting combination. You know, one has the scoring, the other has the defense, the size to guard the opposing team's ball handler. Yusuf Afal is also, I'm really not sure if you actually needed him, but I guess they are
That's
kind of...
an interesting third option.
That's an interesting third option, but as well, like Chimezi Metu easily can play the 5 and would be an interesting option there. So, but...
Maybe they have a plan for him. Like,
yeah,
against specific matchups.
Once again.
Exactly. It seems like every team now wants free centers to have against every team. You have one rim roller, you have one really big guy to play against the Giants, and you have one shooter. Every team in the EuroLeague.
It does look like that. Well, Barca don't have like stretch 5. Vesely stretches the floor up to the free throw line.
Up to the mid-range, yeah.
Mid-range. But he's a good mid-range specialist. And honestly, I expect Jabari Parker's second season to be even better.
Right.
He's proven that he can stay healthy, that he can play in EuroLeague. He adjusted really quickly. He was really consistent. I was impressed with him, and I think his second season should be even better. Actually, even in the Supercopa game, he was already their top scorer. I think he scored 17 points. So looking forward to his second year.
Where do you have Barca?
I have them at number 6.
Oh, I have number 5.
Have them at number 6 because, well, obviously I didn't want to rank Monaco too low. So,
but and you have Monaco where? Donatas?
Number 6.
We have the same 3 teams, 4, 5, 6.
I mean, it was kind of hard to come up with something unique here.
And especially this year, it feels like there's a clear top 6, top 7 in the EuroLeague.
I would say top 7, and then the gap is
the gap between
after that you could that range 8 to 12, 8 to 13. I wouldn't be surprised if you had I don't know, Partizan at 12 and I had them like 9 or whatever, or vice versa.
Okay.
The reason why I have Monaco above Barcelona, the reason why I have them at 5, is that Monaco has more continuity, have the same coach and the same best player on the roster. Like Barca had to look for a new best player, the new guy, which is Kevin Punter, and they changed the coach. So Monaco right now seems like a very consistent team with Sasha Obradovic and Mike James. They went to the Final Four. They were like one shot away of going back there. They're making playoff. They made playoffs 3 years in a row. And the roster additions, some of them I do like a lot. Some of them I have question marks. Honestly, I wanted to keep John Brown, but it is what it is. Furkan Korkmaz, I have high expectations for him. Maybe finally they have a true 3-point specialist, a true shooter on that roster. Like upgraded version of Danilo Andjušić that they used to have and used to run sets for him. So Furkan Korkmaz, with his off-ball movement, with his shooting abilities, should help them a lot. I am not sure if Nick Calates is the right fit, though. Like when we're talking about the team that's elite, but also have a clear weakness. They've been one of the worst 3-point shooting teams for the past few years, and you're signing a veteran point guard whose weakness is actually 3-point shooting. I know that his 3-pointers killed you, but look, that's not why you signed him. He has obvious qualities. It's obviously what he brings to the team. I hope it is a good fit, but I have questions about it. Other than that, I mean, they kept...
But maybe that's why they brought Korkmaz, Vito Brown as a clear stretch
for sure.
Papagiannis in the center
for sure,
position.
These guys are going to help. I mean, they can shoot. They're shooters. That's what they're here for. But at the same time, last year I was thinking that Cornelio could be the solution. Like he's the guy who's going to stretch the floor, and at least in his first year, he didn't really find a clear role on that team. But they kept most of the guys, the main guys. The only real loss, I would say, is Jordan Lloyd, of course, joining Maccabi. John Brown, as I said, I would have kept him, but he's have injured. Other players.
He's injured, and he had surgery, so he might be out for the first part of the season, and maybe that's what affected their decision.
So if that's the case, then I don't.
But I miss one guy like John Brown in their front line. This lockdown defender.
I think
to make
Blasingame will
picture.
step up into a bigger role. Probably he can play really good defense, and when you have Alpha Diallo also playing defense, I mean, they're gonna be a good defensive team in my opinion.
Although those two have to step up.
Maybe Matthew Strozel will step up into a bigger role after these Olympics.
Even Okobo, I heard that he did some changes during the summer. He had a good time off, I would say, and he came ready for the next season. I saw that he was
and you
top
still have
scorer
the
on
MVP
team.
of the league, and the rest, I think Sasha Obradovic, he's a very smart coach. He will figure it out. So I put them at number 5 and Barcelona at number 6.
So ready that Monaco are already looking for another point guard?
What?
They wanted to sign Paris Lee.
I think it's related to injury problems for the start of the season. They were probably afraid of Mike James' situation if he returns on time for the start of the regular season. I heard that there were some concerns about Nick Kalatis and his health. So I think that they were just looking for a short-term, not a short-term, they were ready to sign him for the entire season, but like short-term solution for the start of the season. Let's put it this way. So
Paris Lee as a short-term solution sounds, I don't know. He doesn't sound like a short-term solution.
Paris Lee sees himself as a short-term
exactly.
solution.
I mean, that's why they needed an upgrade to solve some short-term problems. I would define it this way.
The only thing about Monaco that I don't actually like is that every team signed 3 different centers, and I don't know. You released Donta Hall, which is like the only lap threat for Mike, for Nick Kalatis, and I know he likes to get into foul trouble often, but it's just I kind of expected a different 3-center rotation there,
like a mobile
in Monaco.
Mobile center.
Yeah, exactly.
Papagiannis is a bit similar to Demo. I know that Demo has the post moves that nobody else has in the EuroLeague. But in terms of size, in terms of movement, they're kind of different. The way you're going to play your pick and roll coverage is going to be the same. And Jaite is also another paint protector, but he's not known for his mobility.
Even Corneli, he's not known for his mobility. So that's my issue with Monaco this season. Too many same profile bigs, some injury concerns here and there. So... And it doesn't sound like actually a big deal. I rank them top 6, and they're super close to the Final 4 contention. So it's not that bad, just the way I see the situation for the start of the season.
Number 7.
I had to go with Milan.
Okay.
I mean, as much as they frustrated
Putting
me,
a lot of hope.
As much as they frustrated me for
that's your first mistake, my friend.
3 years in a row, but
fratello.
But, I mean, come on, like I still see Nikola Mirotic on the roster. I still see
John Shields.
I see Shields. I see the addition of Josh Nebo. I mean, I cannot say that this roster now looks better than what they had a year or 2 years ago, but maybe it looks more balanced.
That's true. I agree with that take.
Because like they let go for Fortman, they let go Melli. Now they have Mirotic as a clear star player in the 4th position, surrounded with others. I don't think they have a star in their guard rotation, but who knows? You know,
Dimitrijevic will be very good.
Dimitrijevic will be very important. Bolmaro is a developing young player who got a lot of confidence last year, so it's not bad. I mean, it's still a team built around Mirotic. Zach Liddy back also is a huge part of why I believe in them. Like, I'm putting a superstar team in the 7th spot in the power rankings just because of how much they disappointed me in the past. But look, at least they should be in the playoffs finally. I hope they stay healthy first of all.
I hear all the deja vu sentences from the last 2 years.
I mean, the thing with Ettore Messina, I don't want to criticize him anymore or question or whatever. He's the coach. Nobody can fire him. He's still doing his thing. I just hope that maybe something clicks this time. Like I said, this roster is more balanced, in my opinion, than it was a year ago.
The biggest question mark to me is those young guys that he signed for the backcourt position, both Bolmaro and Dimitrijevic. Although I love them as the individuals, I love their potential, but I cannot, throw away from what I've seen in the last 2 years. A lot of Milan players just losing all this confidence that they had before and start hesitating, start missing shots, and start just playing poor basketball. And that's where I see big question mark over Leandro Bolmaro, because his success, I think, also stands in a way. If he makes those 3-pointers, he can be, very high level player. But if he's not making those shots, that might be, tough for him offensively. Dimitrijevic is a young guy, I would say a little bit mysterious player entering the EuroLeague rookie. And sometimes it's hard to expect huge things from rookies, although he's super talented. But how this connection with Vetra Messina will work, we'll see. I also, probably in Augustas' world, I'm too optimistic about them because I put them 8th. Because of the reasons you mentioned, all the talent that they have. And, finally, it has to click, I guess. So that's why I have them 8th. But for the 7th position, I have Efes. Because I love the way they improved their roster. I think that now they're more balanced, more complete. I like that they addressed defensive issues from the last season where they looked horrible, I would say. So they brought 2 physical, experienced, and athletic bigs with Vincent Poirier and Roland Schmitz. I think that now they will have a better share offensively with Shane Larkin, Darius Thompson, Elijah Brandt. From what I've seen in the preseason, he took a role of almost a point guard, dishing a lot of assists and becoming a very important ball handler. There's Bobois. And when I looked at that roster, I thought that, okay, so who's going to be the second elite option next to Shane Larkin offensively when Clyburn left, when Micic left before? And I was surprised by Jordan Nwora, the way he displayed in the preseason, having big numbers, almost 14 points per game in those exhibition games against many EuroLeague teams as well. Stanley Johnson is also there. So I think that now they have more depth, they're more balanced, and if everybody stays healthy, Shane Larkin will be in a position to lead this team. They should be better. They should finally make the playoffs again.
I have Efes at the 7th spot as well. I think they improved their team significantly. Although it might be, not a championship caliber level of the team as they stand right now, but they still have Shane Larkin. I have high hopes on Jordan Nwora. Roland Schmitz is there, Vincent Poirier. Basically, your starting guys that you were starting, Derek Willis, Dano Turu. Now they are doing the second unit things, and that speaks volumes about how you improved your roster. And those guys are. What I saw, they're doing a good job. So I think they should be higher than last year. I think they should be a way better defensive team finally, because last season they were number 1 in offense and last in defense. I think there should be way more balance than they had last year, and I think it should lead to wins unless Shane Larkin, I don't know, gets injured or some other very important player. So I have high hopes on Efes. I think they could be, even higher depending on what the teams above them are doing, how those teams mesh. And just going back to Milano, I have them at number 10.
Number 10, okay, cool.
Number 10, just because I learned my lesson of not putting hopes on Italian teams, which I do love a lot. But from what I saw in the last 2 years, I like the players that they signed, but I'm just not putting high hopes anymore because of the past.
They have red flags on them, let's say.
They have, and maybe finally Milano is somehow healthy this year, because we all saw how many injuries they had last 3 seasons. Hopefully Siobhan Shields can have an injury-free season. Hopefully, their guards that are always somehow injured can play a lot of minutes. So maybe then they are in the zone where you get directly to the playoffs and not only in the play-in.
I have Efes at number 8. I also like their signings, the way they improved the roster. Now they're putting trust into Tomislav Mijatovic as their head coach. And another thing is that I expect Darius Thompson to be better this year, because last year people were looking at him as Micic replacement. And it's obvious that there's no player right now that can be a straight Vasilije Micic replacement. And now you don't have that pressure on you anymore because people are not looking at you in that way. It's not about that anymore. It's just about helping the team. Like, it's Shane Larkin's team. It's clear and obvious. The roster additions are great. Especially, I love that they signed Vincent Poirier. And we will still get to see him in a bigger role rather than being a backup to Eddie Tavares, as good as he was at doing that. But he's one of the elite centers in the EuroLeague. So, yeah, I have them at number 8. And number 8 sounds not so good, but in such competitive environment, I think to put someone at number 8 in the middle of the power rankings is still good. So, yes, I do believe that FS will be much better this season.
So just to make a short break, can you all go through your top 8 selections?
Oli, Real Madrid, Fener, Monaco, Barca, Milan, FS.
What's that all about? Okay, I had
constructions happening.
Panathinaikos, Madrid, Olympiacos, Fener, Barca, Monaco, FS, and Milan. And Augustas?
I had Pau, Olympiacos, Real Madrid, Barca, Fener, Monaco, FS.
Okay.
And number 8 right now, right?
Yeah. Oh, so you have
have
Milan
to say
at
your
10?
number 8 because we already did.
Milan is number 10. Who you have at 8?
Milan.
And I have FS.
I have Partizan.
Okay. Makes sense.
I have Partizan, although in my eyes, the most unpredictable team. And of course, this is the most logical statement probably of what we said in this podcast, because they have completely new roster. And, EuroLeague does those new players posts that every team has. Partizan had like 3 lines of 4 players in each. I think, who else? Maccabi Tel Aviv had kind of similar numbers. Well. So to me, with Partizan, I don't think you can really argue with where you want to put them, because if you say number 6, I would agree because they're really unpredictable. If somebody says number 12, if Zvezda fan says
that's a prediction.
13.
That sounds like a prediction to put them 6th. More of a prediction.
I don't know. It's just
I power ranking pick, in my eyes.
But they have a lot of good players.
Yeah,
they have a lot of good players. You know,
they have a pretty good coach.
They have a pretty good coach there too. You know, he knows what he's doing.
He's decent.
And what I know is that they're going to look completely different, because I think that team just went away from being a heavy offense-oriented team to a defensive one. And, you know, Carlik Jones, we all know what he can do. You have Dwayne Washington, that is a little bit underrated in my eyes, but he can do good things on the court. You have so many defensive players. You have EuroLeague veterans like Lundberg. You have like Isaac Bonga.
Ntilikina.
You have Ntilikina, another great defensive player. You have Brandon Davis there and Tyreek Jones. Both guys who can defend on the perimeter if wanted. So you can be a real pain in the ass on defense against any team, I think. You have Sterling Brown there, who could basically play 1, 2, 3, whatever position you want. My only issue is about the power forward spot, but I see a lot of interesting names in this team, and I think they're a really high upside team. Although, I mean, you rank them from 8 to 12. I agree
have them
with your
at
choice.
number 9.
Okay,
I was thinking a lot about this roster and what are my feelings about Partizan before the season, and there are some really solid names. They signed a lot of quality players. There's no question about it. I mean, I'm on Carlik Jones bandwagon. I'm so happy that he finally signed a EuroLeague contract, because after watching him playing for South Sudan, I was really frustrated that during the season I can't really see him play because he's somewhere in the G League, somewhere stuck in Chicago, and now it's clear he's going to be one of the main guards for a good EuroLeague team with the best EuroLeague coach.
I think he has potential to be one of the best point guards in the EuroLeague.
I mean, he will be the
Even
scorer.
from the jump.
He will be the scorer. Like, he will take more or less Kevin Punder's role. Like, we saw in these last 2 seasons with Partizan and Željko that it's not about being a true point guard anymore. It's just about being the ball handler, the person who creates. And I think with the help of Dwayne Washington, Ife Lundberg, and if Frank Ntilikina turns out to be a good signing, they have a really good guard rotation. However, it's really hard when you replace like 12 players with 12 new players. Even if they're good, it's hard to expect this team to become a dominant winning EuroLeague team all of a sudden, like in the first few months. I think it's going to be hard for them. It will take some time, but if they keep these guys, let's say for the second season, I would probably see them in a different way. I'm not sure what's going to happen. Like, nobody knows. I'm not predicting anything. But the one thing that I don't like about Partizan right now is that maybe I don't see that strong Serbian core anymore, like in terms of mentality. How many times last year you saw them in trouble and there's all of a sudden Alexa Avramovic stepping up or Alen Smailagić playing some very big minutes? Like, these local players that have a connection with the club, they are very important. And Alexa Avramovic had in some games, he just looked like the heart and soul of Partizan. Right now, the local players that they have, they brought back Vanja Marinkovic, a solid role player. I don't really expect him to shine a lot, but he's going to have his role on the team. Alexei Pokusevski, I don't know what to expect from him. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I have no expectations.
What else? Balsa Koprivica. I don't see any strong Serbian leader, captain material, or something like that.
But at the same time, it was never the case with this Partizan. I think that Zvezda had this.
No, but I say like Alex Avramovic. He was so
a
important.
standout.
He was so important.
That's for sure. But others, the role of Serbian players was not as huge as in Zvezda in my eyes.
Yeah, it's true. It's like basically Alexa and Smailagić.
Yeah, I think, and you cannot trust Smailagić like a veteran player. You didn't know what to expect from the guy as well. Alexa was more of a confident solution, although he's also quite an emotional player. So it was not the case with Partizan. Regarding the changes you mentioned, I think the number of changes is even more important to address when we're talking about Željko Obradovic's team. For any other coach, the way they play, the style of the basketball, it might be even an easier adjustment. In Željko's world, when he's so detail-oriented, it takes time. And that's what might be one of those question marks, if they will manage to click together quite fast. If you remember when they had KP, Zach Lee, it took 1 season in the Eurocup as well, to bond as a team and to be as good as that they almost made the Final Four next year in the EuroLeague. So it might be an issue, but you mentioned this, Serbian character, and I thought that those Serbian players like Alexa being the soul of the team, but at the same time, I think that the new soul of this team at some point is gonna collapse probably. Our studio, or maybe not. It just wind.
Feels like we're hiding in some bunker or shelter, just deep down underground.
But I think that the soul and the selling card of this team will be different mentality, defensive-minded, high-intensity, high-tempo team. From what I heard from the guys who played against Partizan, they recall that the intensity of the game, the defense, the length, the athleticism of this roster is just insane. And that's the main difference I see comparing those two Partizan teams. Defensively, they were really bad last year. And when you try to be consistent, both on home games, where they have this huge support from their fans, but when they try to be consistent, being defensive liability usually hurts you a lot playing away games. So I think that if they will manage to build a good team defense, because individually they're almost all super good defensively, it might be a new identity of this Partizan teams. From the names you mentioned, for instance, Tariq Jones might be a huge X factor. He didn't have the smoothest, easiest transition in his rookie season in FS, but in preseason he was huge for Partizan, averaging 16 points. He was grabbing almost every offensive rebound in those games. Other guys like Frank Ntilikina, for instance, some noticed huge change in the way in his confidence shooting the ball, which is very important for him to stretch the floor. So Augustas mentioned that it's probably the most unpredictable team, but if we rank them quite high, I would say like 9th or 8th position, it means that we kind of expect them to do good. Yeah. And that's a good rank in that way.
I expect to see a lot of 67, 62 games for Partizan in Stark Arena, and not like last year's, where they would score 90 but would allow 95 and would have close to 0 chance when playing away, because they had like 4 wins, if I remember correctly, last season away from Stark Arena, basically just because of their defense. And seeing this roster, all the things you mentioned, I have high hopes on them. Number 9.
So you say
Partizan both, right?
Yeah, both have them.
I have Zalgiris at 9.
You're really high on Zalgiris this year.
Or are you high on something else?
No, I don't do that.
I'm not judging.
Which no, high on Zalgiris or on something else?
I mean, it's cool. It's cool.
I'm high on Zalgiris. I like this team. I like the players that they got. I like the idea. I believe in the things Andrea Trinchieri is trying to install there. And I believe that since he's here right from the beginning, I know there's a lot of new players, but I think they have a lot of different options to surprise the opponents. And yeah, a lot of different options offensively, some interesting tactics defensively to hide, some of the weaknesses. Great Euro Cup scorers on that team. Some already, like guys like Sylvain Francisco that have already EuroLeague experience, heading into his second EuroLeague season. So I don't know. I think, Ignas Brazdeikis at the same time. Olympiacos fans might think, why are you thinking he's a good player? But we all saw what he is capable in Kaunas. I think he improved a lot during this offseason. His spot-up threes look way more confident than they were.
I think it would be fair to say that you bet on their potential and upside, because a lot of these guys, they're improving guys.
And on their coach.
Yeah. Yeah. But at the same time, I did the same with Partizan, because we don't know them either.
But the names are
in
more
quality,
known.
proven players like
okay,
Jones.
For you as someone who maybe studied the Euro Cup, Tyrone Wallace and Matthew Mitchell mean something. But for many of us who only focus on EuroLeague, these are newcomers. These are players we don't know what to expect.
And even if they're good, usually it takes time.
Yeah,
this transition period might be painful. So, because I was also quite high watching Zalgiris in the preseason, but at the same time, you kind of face some situations where you see that Smailagic is still facing inconsistency problem. You see that Dunstan can barely dunk.
Dunstan is old
nowadays, and I respect the guy. He's still super strong and athletic, but at some point, it's gonna hurt Zalgiris. Mitchell, if he's not making threes, you start playing 4 against 5, and especially if you have Dovis Giedraitis on the same lineup, you have some issues offensively, and we hope Wallace will be great. We hope Francisco will be even more successful in his second year. But Servidis, but
Servidis had a great preseason. Brazdeikis too. I mean, who from Partizan apart from Kurlik Jones? Like, nobody watches Alba games to know that well. Sterling Brown, Dwayne Washington.
No, I do know a lot about Brandon Davis. I do know a lot about Ife Lundberg. I do know a lot about Isaac Bonga. Even Frank Ntilikina being a French national team player.
Are these such a big names?
No, I'm not saying that, and I'm not trying to prove a point that,
let's say there's a huge gap.
No, I'm just trying to have a discussion here. It's not like I'm defending myself.
Look, if Zalgiris had Tyreek Jones and Brandon Davis instead, and Partizan had Birutis and Dunstan, I would switch them.
Okay. Only give one of those two for Zalgiris and we are good.
I know what Trinchieri has done with Bayern Munich. Let's say he was in a similar position with the budget and everything, but he, of course, he had a star player, Wade Baldwin. Mm-hmm. Then he had a season where everybody was injured and he still somehow made it a 5-game series with Barcelona. So Zalgiris lost a star player. They had Keenan Evans, and they couldn't just replace him with someone, let's say, signing a 2-year, €3 million deal. So they decided to invest more money and spread the money around the roster, like in different positions to have more depth. The only position where they don't seem that deep is center. Of course, I know that Smailagic is more than capable of playing at center, but in general, you have Berutis as a specific type of player and Dunstan as a EuroLeague vet. And then the guard rotation could be very solid if Sylvain Francisco turns out to be what he's expected to be, if Tyrone Wallace can bring his game
a lot of ifs, right?
to this next level, which is EuroLeague. And then, we have Lekavicius as another option. Then you have Servidis as another young Lithuanian, a good shooter. To how many left-handed players do they have? Servidis, Brazdeikis, Ulanovas, Lekavicius. That's 4 left-handed players. And Berutis, sort of a left-handed player who loves the right-handed floater, like specific player. So, I mean, it's all right what they did. I'm not saying it's bad, but
where do you have them?
I have them at number 13.
Oh, okay.
It was, look, honestly, we've reached the part of the podcast where I don't really have much to say, and I didn't really have strong arguments for any of those teams, but I still had to put them somewhere. Yeah. So now I'm looking at 6 clubs that I see more or less on the same level, and somehow I have to say that this one is better than that one.
To me, ranking those teams from 10th to 14th probably is like just spinning the roulette, and wherever the ball goes, I'm like, okay, that's fine. I see your argument. Look, because they're so similar.
I have them at 13, but the 3 teams that I have above, which I will mention later, I don't think they're better than Zalgiris necessarily, but it is what it is.
It's just which teams do you sympathize more than the others?
Not necessarily sympathize, maybe just one certain player that stands out. Like, let's say I put Zalgiris against Maccabi, and I'm thinking, well, if Jordan Lloyd's healthy, I'm gonna go with Maccabi, right? Because he's the best player on these 2 rosters in general, in my opinion.
In this conversation,
I'm going to take the 5th here.
I tried to rank those teams based on few main points. I tried to believe in the upside of the rosters that those teams built.
Can you give me some water, man?
The fit, of course.
We have a lot of water.
Show the water for everybody in the office.
Please share.
Also, the fit, coaching factor was important, and just the balance of the team, I would say. And that's why I actually put Zalgiris, although I made all those questions to you, because I'm asking.
Where do you have the number 10?
Yeah, number 10.
Okay.
All those questions to me, and you had the number 10.
Yeah, just try to make sure that I was not wrong as well, because I'm like, Zalgiris 10th, really? But that's where the conversation goes, with this roulette. I mean, I tried to compare them with Virtus, Baskonia, Zvezda, and like, I don't know, man. But just the full picture, upside, coach, fit, the feeling, I just thought that maybe they're just better suited.
Passport, your own passport.
That probably plays some role. I don't know. Having Augustas as my friend because he's super high about Zalgiris, and I consider him as a smart guy, so probably he's right, ranking them.
Well, maybe
so high.
I'm high on something else.
Last time I was right about Zalgiris, it was not good for them.
Right.
You mean last season when we ranked them
3-1 the finals of Lithuania League.
Okay.
Who do you have number 10?
Because I have Zalgiris number 10.
Virtus Bologna.
I have Virtus 11th.
I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. I mean, number 10. What can I say? Will Clyburn is a good basketball player. I don't know, really, honestly. Number 10.
You know what?
Virtus Bologna.
Why? Is he such a good player? Why is he not playing for a contender?
Because he maybe is not as good as he once was.
He's slower.
Look, like last year, they overachieved in the first part of the regular season. Then they dropped in the second part. They dropped the play-in. They didn't make it out of the play-in, but I think with Luka Banki, they felt good. They played some good basketball. They kept the veteran players like Bellinelli, Hackett, Shengelia. They added Will Clyburn. They added Ray-John Tucker, Matthew Morgan. I'm not sure what to expect from them. It's just that number 10 without any really strong arguments here.
When I tried to think about Virtus, which I selected 11th, I thought that maybe they have a nice combination between vets and some new guys. And I think that they upgraded the team offensively, where they sometimes struggled last season in the half-court basketball, where Will Clyburn can make some tough shots. I like the potential of Matt Morgan. I think that he's very underrated rookie in the EuroLeague as well. I love Ray-John Tucker's potential to dunk the ball, but I'm just not sure how he's going to utilize his speed and athleticism. But still, that's a good upgrade in terms of their depth and the way they like to play transition basketball. He might be useful. I expect Cordinier to step up this season. I liked what he did in French national team during the knockout stage. Shengelia, he will have good stretches during the season, although I don't like the way they build their front line with Polonara, Zizic, Kekak, Diouf. I'm not sure. That was my missing point. If they had some more clarity there, then maybe I would have ranked them higher. But yeah, that's a tough one.
I have them one spot even lower at 12. And basically, the two things you mentioned, the center rotation, and that's like my main question mark there. Last time Ante Zizic and Will Clyburn were on the same team, they were not good defensively. And
exactly.
Who's your number 10?
My number 10 is
like we're always
Milano.
one step ahead of Augustas. Oh, yeah. Zalgiris 9th. No.
Yeah.
Zalgiris 9th.
Yeah.
Milano 10.
Milano 10.
Oh, we said it earlier.
He had Partizan 8th.
Yeah. Cool.
And I have Virtus at 12. Just because of their front lineup. I like that they went out in the offseason and addressed their issue offensively. With Clyburn, with Tucker, with Matt Morgan, that thing will be much easier together with Tornika Shengelia and with their style that Luka Banki wants to play. Fast-paced offense, playing off of secondary actions. It should be fun to watch, with especially with Morgan and Ray-John Tucker there. But big questions about the defense, and that's why I don't see them higher than 12 spot.
Who's your 11th?
Zvezda.
Okay. Why Zvezda?
Zvezda at 11. It might sound harsh.
This conversation is tough.
It might sound harsh, but it just seems like they're constructing a team like they're playing a basketball manager. I don't know, because they have such a big emphasis on the guards. Last summer they had like 7 power forwards and frontline players. Now they have like 7 or 8 guards, but there is no balance on the roster. I just don't really see that, and their front court just doesn't give me that much hope that they are going to be a playoff team. I don't expect the same numbers from Cody Miller-McIntyre. There will be guys that can, sub him out of the games if he's struggling or he's making turnovers. That was not the case in Baskonia. That has a different mental perspective on your game as well. How he will be able to handle that? There is Isaiah Kanan, Nedovic, Dobric, Kalinic, Rytis. 5 guys basically playing the 2 positions. Okay, Kalinic can play the 4th, but I don't know.
I like Bolomboy and Mitrovic as their centers, but yeah, I don't get this power forward position. Although
Mitrovic is playing the 4th, basically, but what comes after that? What is in the center spot?
The conversation could have been different if they managed to bring Filip Petrushev, which was the plan.
Exactly.
Actually.
Exactly.
And if Petrushev was there, I would have ranked them higher than I did. I have them 13th, so I probably would have put them 10th or 11th, But yeah, I had the same question marks over Cody's usage, if he will be able to perform if he gets lower minutes, and the power forward position, and we're also talking about the team which plays under huge pressure. So how is it going to affect Coach Sferopoulos? Giving their track record where they change the coach every freaking season. So the depth is great, and the depth might be, useful for the EuroLeague finals, like they did actually last year against Partizan, and that they had this probably balanced team, more balanced team than Partizan, more depth, and that's what probably also caused Partizan to make some changes. But for the EuroLeague season, I'm not convinced yet.
Your fans, your organization wants to win in the EuroLeague.
No, that was fake news.
What do you mean?
About the Final Four and 26 wins.
Oh, I know that.
Okay.
I'm not.
Yeah, I thought that you were referring to that thing.
I'm not referring to that. I just, you want to win in the EuroLeague. Like winning the EuroLeague is not enough for you. You have all this money. You want to win in the EuroLeague. You want to be at least in the playoffs. So this balance in the roster just boggles my mind. Where do you have them, Rytis?
Number 14.
Ooh.
I don't like their logo.
Okay. Anything else you don't like about that team?
There are things, but I don't want to talk about them right now.
Who do you have 11 then?
11, Baskonia.
Okay.
Last Friday, I was playing
Here comes
basketball.
the story.
I was playing basketball.
It'll be crazy argument behind his pick.
It's the first to 11. We're down 7-9. So the 3-point shot is worth 2 points, classic pickup basketball.
Yeah.
I have the ball in my hands. I have, let's say, a guard my size guarding me. I opt for a high arcing shot, which makes no sense, and it goes in. We're tied at 9. We get the rebound. We have the chance to win it. My guy has the ball in his hands. I run to him for a handoff. I take the ball, and immediately from the handoff, I'm launching the ball. Again, a high arcing shot. The ball is spinning. Bam, it's in. We're winning. Dagger. I yell, Marcus Howard. We're done here. I love Baskonia. I love Marcus Howard.
So that's why 11, because 11 you played the game up until 11, right?
You're right, man.
It all adds up, your story. With
also, in addition to that, they signed Dante Hall, they signed Luvavuka Baro, good EuroLeague players. Luvavuka Baro will add another scoring option, let's say. Someone who can play with the ball. Dante Hall, he's a lob threat. Maybe Marcus Howard will now have more assists because he will have the option to lob when he's penetrating.
He won't.
Well, at least from time to time on some occasions. And look, I know that last season they struggled in the ACB. They didn't even make it to the playoffs, but they did make it to the EuroLeague playoffs, and they have Pablo Lasso coaching them right now. He's their man. He is from Vitoria. He is their legend. So maybe that's another important ingredient. And they should be a play-in contender again, as usual. As if play-in was a thing like more than one season. I'm just saying, they're going to be in the mix.
I mean, they're 100% of the time in the play-in. So, but who's going to play the 5 here when Dante Hall gets in foul trouble, and that's like the first quarter, third minute of the game?
I don't know.
Chima Moneke at the 5?
Moneke, small ball.
Yeah, with Tadas and Chima at the 4 and 5?
Yeah, Tadas playing 38 minutes. Why not?
Again, Baskonia will be a great team for fantasy managers. That's all I know. But
and to watch as well. They're entertaining when they're playing Buesa.
Especially at home, yeah.
Exactly.
Marcus Howard, when they're playing at home with their fans and Howard gets hot, it's something beautiful.
They have 2 all EuroLeague caliber players. I mean, in Chima Moneke and Marcus Howard. So, there's some reason to believe in them. And usually they find those new guys. I don't know what to expect from Kawamura Baldwin. He had okay preseason, probably like 10 points, 4 assists per game, but that's a huge role that he will have to play if Baskonia wants to be successful. From what I've seen from the stats, Forrest was not that successful yet, but maybe Dante Hall will step up in a bigger role. I don't know. I have them 12th.
14th.
Because of the fit, not sure how it's gonna work out on the court, chemistry-wise. Some bets on upside of some guys. I don't know what to think about this team, to be honest with you.
I have them 14th. Donatas 12th spot for you and Rytis, because I have Zvezda at 11, Virtus at 12, and you guys both had in.
I had Zalgiris 10th, Virtus 11th, Baskonia 12th, and Zvezda 13th.
I have Maccabi 12th.
Okay.
Maccabi at number 12, new roster. I'm not sure if Rokas Jokubaitis is ready for a bigger role. I hope Jordan Lloyd can be healthy, but it wasn't the case last year, and hopefully he will be the star of the show, but I just don't see enough depth. Even if Wayne and Gabriel turns out to be a good signing, it's not the same comparing to what they had with Josh Nebo last season, and other positions as well. I mean, you lost Bonzi Colson, Wade Baldwin, and Lorenzo Brown, and Josh Nebo in one summer, and you're replacing them with less expensive signings because you don't have the budget right now, and you're not playing actual home games, so you don't really have a home court advantage. Number 12 for me, I mean, in the last few seasons, they were so good, so exciting. They were so close to the Final Four. I don't really see them doing this the same thing this year.
I have them 13th, but them and Baskonia, it's all the things you mentioned. You lose all the best players from your starting lineup. I mean, they lost all 5 guys basically. What we're starting for that team:
Wade, Lorenzo,
Bonzi,
Colson,
Josh Nebo, James Webb.
Well, Cohen usually starting. Like what's the starting lineup?
Yeah, power forward was you can choose from anyone. Like Jake would play the first quarter and then would not play anymore.
It's more about who's closing the game.
Right. So not playing home games, just the additions they made. Maybe they're the surprise of the season, but I really, really highly doubt that.
I was back and forth with them. I put them 14th, and the reasons why I believe, and in some way I kind of cheated a little bit, is these two. First of all, I watched some of their preseason games. I talked with the guys, and I heard that they're just enjoy playing together. There's no clear. You can say that Jordan Lloyd is the biggest star on that team, but he's not acting like a superstar. They all shared the ball. They're enjoying bigger roles. For instance, this is a huge opportunity for Rokas Jokubaitis to excel on that team in a different situation. He feels like more relaxed. He takes shots with confidence, and that's where Odet Katash greatness comes into the place. The system that he runs in Maccabi is efficient and also gets a lot of praise from the players. They feel relaxed. They know the system pretty well, although even there are some newcomers. They feel that they kind of crack the codes over there really quickly. And so I think that despite my power ranking pick, I think that they have potential to surprise starting the season, because if you look at the roster, they don't have huge superstar names. And I hope that Jordan Lloyd will be healthy, because that was a big issue last season. And now he's a number 1 guy on that team, so he has to be healthy to carry the workload. The reason that I'm cheating is that I know that they're looking after 1 or 2 players. And that's a game changer. I mean, if you remember, Macon was about to start for this team, but he was injured and he didn't manage to return on time or the way maybe Maccabi or both sides wanted, so they parted ways. So they're looking for this combo guard that will play a big role. And from what I heard, probably they're going to add another forward who can play multiple positions. So we're going to have a different picture on that team, and they might add some depth and just, star power or whatever, to look even better on paper starting the season. But again, all these teams look so similar to me that I just put Maccabi 14th because of the situation that I see right now, 1 week before the opening game at the EuroLeague season.
Who are the additions?
I'm not sure yet. Usually Maccabi plays it interestingly. They bring some interesting names. So
Keith Langford.
Wing and Gabriel, for instance.
Keith Langford is going to be one.
Jeremy Pargo.
Yeah.
Damn, that dunk. Rytis, who you had 13th?
Zalgiris.
Oh,
Zvezda
right,
14th. I'm done with this top.
So we
top
all
14.
have
Bayern
the
15th. Bayern 15th.
Bayern Munich, yeah. Not too much to be excited about when you look at the roster. They do have a world champion head coach
on their head,
Gordy Herbert, but coaching in the EuroLeague is different than coaching a national team with Dennis Schroeder, Wagner brothers, and and the rest. So I don't know, man. Look, what are we gonna talk about? Andy Obst's breakthrough season.
I hope that he will find his Dennis Schroeder and Shabazz Napier.
Shabazz Napier and Carson Edwards
Carson will step up,
catch fire, and you know, they will run this team. But I'm not sure what else to say. Like, it wouldn't shock me if they finish close to the play-in somehow. But in the power rankings, I see them better than let's say few other clubs, and that's it. That's all I can say.
Really, least inspiring Bayern roster that they had in 4 years, maybe something like that. When did Baldwin join Bayern?
Before COVID, probably.
Before COVID, right? 2019.
Yeah, or right after COVID. Maybe right after COVID.
Okay, anyways, whatever. But really, like,
they played against Milan in the empty gym from what I remember.
Roster with Baldwin and
Jalen Reynolds.
Reynolds later, it was Otello Hunter. That was great. Even last year, you could get excited about Serge Ibaka in EuroLeague and Pablo Lasso coaching them, but you also didn't expect much from them. Like, this season, I expect even less.
Me too. I just expect Devin Booker to be a valuable EuroLeague fantasy player.
16th? Paris? I go with Paris.
I picked the other French team.
TJ Shorts is my reason. Basically, the most exciting player from these bottom 3 teams. I like their backcourt. Heafy, Ward, Malcolm. I try to watch them. I like the intensity of the game. It feels like that nobody can stop Tariq Jones. I remember that, not Tariq Jones, TJ Shorts. I remember that a lot of Partizan players tried to guard him individually, starting from Tariq Jones. There were like 5 different options. Nobody could do anything. And TJ is also good at sharing the ball, you know, finding open spots for his teammates. So it was an exciting team, but I mean, they have a rookie coach. I don't believe in rookie coaches when they take over teams like Paris. So it's going to be a difficult debut for Paris basketball, probably. And my biggest regret is that there's no Thomas Isolo behind this project, because he would make this debut more exciting, maybe a little bit more unpredictable. But now it's hard to expect.
I think if they went to this season with the same roster they had last year in the Euro Cup and the same coach, you would treat them better. You would see them higher.
With the same coach?
The same coach and the same roster they had last season in the Euro Cup.
They would be my most exciting team, actually, to watch. Just now, because of the way they played.
And, you know, I want to wish Diageo Splitter good luck. It's going to be hard, definitely. And I put Asvel at 16 because their DJ at home games is amazing.
Ooh. I met the guy in Paris, actually.
What is that arena called?
Astrobal?
Astrobal, yeah. Astrobal Arena. He's great.
I met the guy in Paris. I stopped him. I shook his hand. I said, "You're the best in this business." The guy was shocked. And he was actually an announcer at the Olympics as well.
Oh, really?
Nice. Yeah, for some games.
Well deserved. Oh, yeah. I mean, one of my favorite EuroLeague personalities, even though I don't know him at all. And I don't even know his name, but he's awesome.
So tall. He's 7-footer, that's for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
7-footer?
Exactly.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Maybe he should play. Because it's not like they have anything to lose.
Your arguments for Asvel tells me that we should end this podcast, or why we are not watching Asvel games, probably. No. I mean...
So your number 16 is also Paris basketball,
It's Paris. And I can't wait to see them. And Asvel, not so much, really.
Although I just don't see anything faces in the EuroLeague, so that's at least
I put Paris at the last place just because I have nothing to say.
Paris in the last place?
Yeah, I mean, what? TJ Shorts is the only reason I will tune in to, let's say, watch them play.
You will like Nadir Heafy as well.
Yeah, Heafy
You will like Heafy as well.
Okay.
He's going to be EuroLeague's Trae Young, probably.
Fine, I mean, but still, they're a new team in this league.
I actually have Alba last.
Me too.
And I spoke with a few players, and they literally think that this team has a chance to end up losing all 34 games. So that's an interesting
that's not
argument.
going to happen.
I haven't heard anything like that before. So to
how
me,
many they won last season? Like 5? 5 wins last year, I think.
4 or 5. Yeah, maybe 5.
They will win 3.
Yeah, for sure.
Terry Williams.
Just because of just one, when you play that aggressive defense, in one game, somebody is going to miss like 25 threes out of 27. And they're going to make some shots in the transition, and then they're going to win the game.
Yeah, last year, at least they had JT, Johannes, Timon.
They had Sterling Brown. They had, I don't know.
Matt Thomas. He's still with the team.
But Spagnolo.
This team is not... If this Alba was in the Euro Cup, they wouldn't be in my top 5.
You probably convinced me to switch places, Alba and Paris. I looked at the roster and I'm thinking that
how many
that this doesn't belong to EuroLeague.
Yeah. No, in defense of Alba, maybe they would have brought some interesting rookies if Procida went to the NBA, because that was the original plan. He's on an expiring contract and he was drafted. His draft rights belonged to Detroit, and it was a super high possibility that he was about to head to the NBA this summer, which means Alba gets the buyout. Alba gets some space in their salary cap because of Procida's contract, and that can lead to 2 free newcomers that Alba can bring to the EuroLeague, such as Trevion Williams, for instance. Now you have a situation where his draft rights were traded to Utah. They didn't take him. He's with the team, but he got injured, and I'm not even sure if he starts the season with Alba, because you remember he missed the qualifiers. So that's a tough situation for Alba Berlin.
That's all, folks.
Pretty much it. Just for the end, I have an unexpected Q&A session for Rytis, actually. What? Because apparently we have a lot of questions from BN Plus members that subscribe us on basketnews.com/plus.
Right.
There's this Discord community that you're not part of, but
Thankfully.
We have a lot of members in that community that they wanted to hear something from you. And I will just address a few questions. Nothing bad, nothing radical, nothing crazy. Go. Because it's a very nice community which we invite to join again on basketnews.com/plus. Some great offers. I think first month is for free. Good prices, a lot of extra features. We're going to have Gimme Control episodes starting from the season, Q&A episodes, Discord, behind the scenes that we actually provided during our trip to Athens. So it's a cool thing to do, to become a subscriber on BN Plus. And by the way, quick shout out to our GMs, Dave Gassman and Janut Gergescu, and also All-Stars, Vidmantas Nuolaida, Tomas Vanagas, Milda, another Milda. That's probably Milda from our office, but anyways, Gabriel Serva, T-Wall T21, Kostas B, Victory, Igor, Donatas Polauskas, Paris, Michael, Alex A, Coach Cook, Jonathan, Emilio 11, Roy De Fiumi, Goldflake, Nick Kohak, Yanis, Jonas, and Slobodan. So, few quick questions. Nick Kohak, any Rytis highlights coming soon on Twitter? He haven't posted them for a while.
By highlights, you mean what?
I'm not sure.
That floater that you made before.
Probably.
A couple of months ago that you posted.
I wish somebody was filming that game.
The problem is that...
The dagger you had.
Look, that time when I posted it on Twitter, we were playing 3-on-3 and we had 7 guys. So one was sitting on the bench and just decided to capture the greatness. And most of the time, no one's recording my performances. So I'm not sure when the next highlight is coming.
Borcha, why Rytis is missing out on the Discord community? He has fans here, as you see.
Because I don't care about that. I mean,
the fans or the Discord?
The Discord, the basketball talks, the banter, the everything. I don't really like the attention as much as it might seem that I do. I mean, I can, when I'm in certain mood, I might go on Twitter and, just throw some flames there and spend a couple of hours sending replies. But in general, I'm not really into that.
Speaking of attention, Eren has a question. Pau fans just asking why he wasn't attended in Athens.
why would I go to Athens? I mean, I don't have any business there. I don't go to EuroLeague games, and Athens is not on some bucket list of cities to visit. So maybe sometime I will be there. Who knows? I'm not planning on it, but if I'm there, I'll let you know.
Tutis, which player do you think will take a big step in this season? Do you have any favorites for the breakthrough season?
I don't know, since we don't have young players in EuroLeague like that you would put high expectations on them. Maybe I will repeat myself about Jabari Parker, that his second season will be even better than the first.
Thomas, if you change the coaches of Pana, Olympiacos, and Madrid with Asvel, Alba, and Paris, how do you think those top teams would do in the regular season? And how do you think those bottom teams would do? Let's give Ataman the Alba job, for example.
The bottom stays the same. None of these guys are miracle workers. You can have all the experience you want. You can have all the playbooks you want. You can be the smartest coach in the world, but it's up to the players, you know, the quality that you have. You cannot do the things that he's doing with Power, he did with Efes, and repeat with Alba to make them at least a playoff contender. It's just impossible. So the bottom stays the same, and the top, I am not sure, like, who's going to be the best fit. Like, is Thiago Splitter the best fit for Olympiacos? Maybe. Is Pierrick Poupet the best for Panathinaikos? I mean, even with these young, inexperienced coaches, Pau, Oli, and Real Madrid would still be top teams. Maybe they would be more vulnerable in playoffs, in a series, against Jelko, against Sharos, against others. But basketball is still a game that is played 5-on-5 on the court, and the quality of the players means a lot.
And you have so many assistant coaches. So.
Yeah, that's true.
And Tutis has a question to all of us. There's a high chance that Yuki Kawamura gets cut. Can he some way end up in Europe? Would you see him thriving in Europe?
Not necessarily EuroLeague, but in Europe for sure, and I would love that.
I would love that too, but from what I heard, his worth in Japan is over 2 million at least. I mean, he's a huge star in Japan, marketing deals and stuff like that. So for him, there's no reason to go to Europe.
For sure.
If you can
earn $2 million in Japan,
and we're talking about minimum, so
why would you sign for 300K in Europe just to prove a point? Makes no sense.
And there's another question by Achilleas Kirkopoulos, and I will respond to it. Hey, I was just wondering if we have any news about the location of the Final Four, please. So the latest news said that Abu Dhabi and Belgrade were the front runners. From what I hear, EuroLeague was more leaning toward another Final Four in Belgrade. At least some sources are pushing this information, but we'll see. Nothing is final yet, although it's a high chance that we're going to have third Final Four since 2018. Being hosted by Belgrade.
Why is that?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Nobody else wants to
probably
organize
it. Profitable, probably, if you remember.
Another reason to do the series.
Exactly. And all this quick Q&A session is another reason to subscribe us on basketnews.com/plus. By the way, because there you can address questions to their bonus host or some of our interviewees that we have. For instance, Carlick Jones' film session is coming up next, probably this week, and some of the questions were addressed actually by the Discord community members. Thank you all for watching.